of foundations that help the youth, the underprivileged in the world, to achieve a great future.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about that for us, Grams, the execution.
Like Peter said, taking it, Jamaica prepared us for this mission. Jamaica is an island, and it prepared us for a continent, and now we're trying to take it one country at a time. And when you talk about the things that you see, like the pilot, it used to be a kid sniffing glue, because like when you talk about sniffing glue, they get high on it. And he went from that to becoming 6 months away from having his pilot license. You're talking about to be a pilot. And these stories need to be told. And this is why we are so happy to have on stage on here to capture this moment, to tell the story. Because if these stories are not told, then it will go unsaid and people say it never happened. And putting together this festival, Winford, it's been something really special, and it's been stressful. As you know, every year where you saw East Fest, it's not easy. This is 10 times worse, because you're talking about the speed is not so fast, and when you tell them certain things, it's like, that can happen, and they don't believe. And just putting together the artists, the flights, the hotels, and trying to get the tent, and Lassa is up there standing beside Mojo, Lassa Morgan, and preparing the venue. It's been so much, but
Respect.
A chocolate rumble sound, kill jump on in the jungle no. Lion Paw International presents Jugglers Rumble Sound Clash 2019. You don't know.
Judgment Charge. As some Rasta youth, we always say it's a repatriation to Africa. Right now, there's not enough of us moving to Africa. And like I said in a lot of interviews, I said, ask not what Africa can do for you, but what you can do for Africa. And when we growing up in our 12 tribe of Israel and the Rastafarian organization, we are saying, come with trade, come with education, that you can come and build something and help to Africa with its creators. But they are moving so fast because China is coming. China is here. Germany is coming and it's here. When you talk about a country named Zambia, that's almost owned 100% by China.
It is. You can consider it a Chinese colony.
Right. So what we want to do is make African American aware, Jamaican, because we represent Jamaican people. That's where our forefathers are from. Yes. And spread it through the Caribbean to let them say, hey, come and visit Africa like you go to LA or London, or you go to the Cayman Islands, or you go to Montego Bay, just to see. And if there's opportunity there, come develop something, whether you're a nurse, whether you're an architect, or whether you're into the media, because it needs it.
And they want us, do they? Do they? They want us, don't they?
Oh, yes.
They want us to, they want the synergy.
They do. And you have to have patience. If you don't have the patience, you gotta run back.
Okay.
Just think about how much Rasta come from Jamaica and come to Africa. And within 2-3 years, you see them back at Jamaica.
Okay.
You have to be impatient.
Yeah.
Because you have realized, just think of Africa. You see the lights, you see the high-rise buildings. It's modern, but the where the mines are, it's like Jamaica in the 70s or the 60s. I wasn't even born yet, so I don't know. But I know that it's not what it is in 2019. So, yeah, Africa is here in 2019, but...
So, quite interesting what these brethren are talking about. The story of the continent of Africa. That it seems like the powers that be are shifting. You know, and it's quite difficult to understand. It's quite difficult to understand what it is that we need to. Is this a reality of the continent of Africa?
Because I think they were being they just put a blanket reasoning on the whole issue, but I think they were also right in that there's a big gap between the rich and the poor.
Right.
Yes, and that is definitely something that is happening. Especially in Africa and the developing world, yes.
And your take that Africa slowly starting to become Chinese colonies?
I can't confirm that, but from the news and from the social media, it looks like that. Or I think there's just been some clashes between the Chinese and the local in some industries.
So if you look at what's happening in the world right now in regards to, you got trade wars between like USA and China right now. I think obviously the Chinese companies would obviously want to look at other sort of like markets to invest, right? Mm-hmm. And I think Africa is popularly becoming the what do you call it? The destination for most of these investors. Okay. And a lot of African countries, they don't have any structures in place that can sort of like protect our resources and only, reserve those resources for their, native people. Like we were seeing a story that is resonating with a lot of African countries, the poverty that is going across the continent of Africa. Would you then blame the Chinese for looking at opportunities and coming in here and putting money and investing? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think is what is Morgan Heritage trying to say? What do you think? What was the point he was trying to get to here? I know exactly what he was trying to say, but for sake of a debate or for this conversation, I'm gonna try and look at it from an angle and say, why not? Why can't the Chinese be given opportunities to come and invest in Africa? What is wrong with that?
I do agree with you on that one, but obviously they definitely need to comply with the rules and regulations of that particular destination that they choose.
And so what I took mostly from what these guys are talking about, is that there's quite a lot of rhetoric, right? People talking, about going back to Africa. What is it that the Rastaman love to say? What do they say?
I'm going back to Zion.
Yeah, going back to Zion. Africa is a mosque.
Zion train.
Yeah, the Zion train is gonna come, and it's like we hear this in music, but deep down, these people never come and settle in Africa.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Apparently, I have got a son who is actually at uni overseas, and he is actually at a school where you've got multi-nationals.
Yeah, and of African descent.
Yes,
descendants.
Yes, and apparently most of them actually they do not like Africans.
Okay, so this is where the problem is, right? The problem is that here we have this like you got Morgan Heritage, talking about very important points in regards to us as Africans. My take is there's a simple answer to this. Africans need to invest in Africa, right?
Yeah.
But the problem with Africans investing in Africa is because Africans who come from Africa know that systems in Africa do not make it easy for them to invest. So the biggest challenge that you're going to find is you're going to find people like coming from all over the world, coming from China, like what they mentioned, coming from Germany, coming from all over the world, coming to the continent of Africa.
And they tend to make it easy for these guys to
prosper.
Invest. Yes, man.
And also these guys take risks. Which I think fellow Africans are not willing to. Like you heard what Moj was saying, what Gramps was saying, that they need to be patient, right? Yep. Peter actually was saying that. Peter was saying that they need to be very patient. The problem is it's not something that you're going to come tomorrow and you're going to start turning your money or whatever. You need to be very patient when you come to this continent. I just thought it was such an interesting piece to realize that certain stories or certain viewpoints of the continent of Africa, especially in the eyes of the people that we look up to so much in music, is very interesting. And it's intriguing to realize that they are seeing it. So what I like about what they're doing is they're seeing it in the eyes of Jamaicans, right?
Yeah.
So and also they are seeing it in the eyes of Rastafarian people. That this whole talk of going back home should not only be talk. It should be something that if you put your mind to, it has to be something that that you need to realize. And if it does happen, you need to be very patient about it, about how you go about it. I just thought it was quite interesting, to share that with I. Do remember at exactly 7:30, we're going to be reaching out to the UK. We're going to be reaching out to one brethren who might be one of the greatest selectors in our generation, or one of the living legend who is out there, who has paved the way for a lot of youths to make sure that reggae and dancehall on this continent, you know what, is sustainable. So in the meantime,
Granny tell me, say, don't follow fool and don't idiot. Keep your mouth, check your life, you will keep that. Why get your youth, them around up in a roadblock, fuck up in a street cop, a gunshot, hey, youth, man. Nobody go on like a fool. You're there jail when you should have there school. Cause you never put the textbook over the tool, man. And hey, youth, man, you broke the #1 rule. Father got the first on every man's schedule. But you make the devil have you like a footstool, man. Sang and hey, youth. Inna the street, them call you shooty. Every gun you see, you want to touch it like a rupee. War is ugly, but inna it you find beauty. You take life like it's a job or it's a duty. You and police a trade shot like it's a movie. Bullet just a sing them think a D, but I no looky. Where you alone a do it so much can you must be soapy. Sang dang digga dang 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 dang. So hey youth man, nobody go on like a fool. You're there jail when you should have there school. Cause you never put the textbook over the tool, man. And hey youth man, you broke the #1 rule. Father got the first on every man's schedule. But you make the devil have you like a footstool, man.
They will do anything to achieve it. Yo, them better listen to Lady G. Hey, I would like to be rich with a big mansion on the hill.
Roots and culture.
Swimming pool in a backyard with me family, relax and chill. Hear me no GT, them want the life where them sip on TV. And them we do anything to achieve it. Yo, them better listen to Lady G. Hey, I would like to be rich with a big mansion on the hill. Swimming pool in a backyard with me family, relax and chill. Drive a different car every day and never ever worry about bills. And when me looking at my bank account, every day me can see a couple mil. Hey, me I work hard to get it. Me have a few dreams to fulfill. So me I use me gift where God give me. Hey, me talent and skill. Me want travel around the world. I know me no reach a Brazil. Hey, but if hard work no get me there, yo me know say me I go draw near. Cause me na 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 na. Me nah shell out me soul.
If them never stop me, then them can't stop me now. Oh God. When them set them trap and try to block me out. Oh, still I stay in my lane and go and chat around. Lordy Lord, me no follow, me no watch the crowd. Yeah, cause me praise Jehovah. When them want me life over, no matter how them dip them and in the obia, them can't get me out, yeah. Quefa. Check. Rough them up, Quef. You know the thing. Watch out. GT Taylor. If them never stop me, then them can't stop me now. Oh God. All when them set them trap and try to block me out.
This one is called.
Oh.
This one is called.
Still I stay in my lane and go and chat around. Lordy Lord. Me no follow, me no watch the crowd.
It's time to pray.
Cause me praise Jehovah. When them want me life up.
Our courtesy youth like Vezza. This one is called Pray upon the rhythm called Stagger. Stagger like a rhythm.
Me praise Jehovah. When them want me life up.
Youth like Mockery, big up yourself, youth.
All when them dip them and in the obia, them can't.
Youth like Big Moon, big up yourself, youth.
Follow me then watch it. See them a try to stop me. Them a try to flop me. Want me head for hurt me. But a judge got me. So them sit down and them plan, them a wonder how we so firm and strong. Them set them plan, them make them plan. Think some weak, God make man strong. Once me fall, but me prove them wrong, so me use this a song for go one pagan. None of them fussy, they coulda never get we down. Tell the wicked God a demon.